Welcome back to another episode of World of Faceting Machines. Today we're looking at the Korean machine cut technique for cutting colored stone melee. The Korean machine consists of a handpiece and a masked hanger. The original design is based on an American machine from the 1950s called the Lee machine. You twist the handle to get the stone to turn around a 32-tooth index wheel. The Korean manufacturers expanded on the design and function of the original machine by using 3 hangers instead of 1. This way, the cutter never has to adjust their angle. They can go through each of the 3 tiers of a round brilliant crown by using the 3 hangers set at different heights. The heights are set before the cutter begins and are finally adjusted to give the final stone specific angles. Once the height is set, the cutter is ready for mass production, never needing to consider angles again. The dops are indexed so that they can be taken in and out of the handpiece without having to align the dops to the index again. The first step of the process begins with dopping. Since this Sri Lankan studio is set up exclusively for mass production, they dop many stones at once. They place the dops in a metal stand that sits on an electric range or sometimes inside of an electric oven, which heats up the dops and cures the epoxy that attaches the rough stones to the dop. Once the dops are ready, they go to the preformer where they get calibrated. These green garnets are going to be 1.5 millimeters, so they calibrate them to 1.55 millimeters so that after polishing, they will be the perfect size. He spins the stone and then checks it. Once the girdle outline is the correct size, he preforms the perfect culet using this angled machine. Impressively enough, the preformer can preform the girdle and culet of up to 1,000 stones per day. When the preform is perfect, the stone gets redopped and then goes to the table cutter. She cuts and polishes the table, setting the exact height of the stone. The lap used for the table has an outer band of iron with 0 to 6 micron diamond powder used for cutting the table, and an inner band of tin with 0 to 2 micron diamond used for polishing the table. Once the table is finished, the stone is ready for the facets to be placed. For these small stones, the cutting step is completely bypassed and facets are cut and polished on a polishing lap with an outer ring of iron and an inner ring of copper, using the same 0 to 6 and 0 to 2 grits. This machine technique is interesting because it combines a machine head and handpiece from Korea and the dual band lap design used in Thailand. For the bottom of the stone, they use a mast with only 2 hangers, set up for the 2 tiers of the bottom of a brilliant cut. The best cutter in the studio can cut 200 crowns in one day. This woman is the second fastest, and she can cut around 150 crowns in an 8-hour workday. We can witness here her entire process for cutting 1 crown. She starts on the middle hanger, which is set for the angle of the 8 main facets. Once she confirms by loop that the mains are the same size and fully polished, she switches to the highest hanger, setting for cutting star facets. She cuts them in on the iron band and then touches each one again on the copper band to polish them. She avoids contamination by wiping the stone before switching grits. Everything she does is based upon rhythm. Her experience has taught her how long each facet takes to cut and polish, so she doesn't need to check her accuracy until the end. Finally, she does the girdle facets on the lowest of the 3 hangers. The factory collectively can produce about 166 stones in a day, which means that each stone averages about 3 to 5 minutes per stone when all the steps are added up. Once the crown has been cut, it gets transferred and dopped again, and then the bottom is cut and polished with 2 tiers. Finally, the stone goes to quality control. If the meet points and polish are perfect by loop, then the stone is complete. The factory can do melee sizes of 3 millimeters down to 0.7 millimeters, hardly bigger than a grain of sand. The factory consists of 20 employees, 40 of them being cutters, close to half male and half female. Training takes place on site and new cutters can start to work after a week of training, though it takes 3 to 4 months for them to become really good at their jobs. The cutters in this workshop get paid a salary of $150 to $250 per month based on experience and speed. This is quite a good salary for the area, more than double the wage of nurses and teachers, and enough to cover the monthly expenses of a 3-person family. There is a manager who's in charge of machine maintenance. The cutting and polishing laps regularly need scored and prepped. They use this device to give them perfect scoring lines. The The scoring lines are cut with the tip of this metal tool. If contamination or scratches occur during polishing, they smooth out the scoring with a 1200 grit topper lap and then reapply the diamond powder. The lap is smoothed and cleaned again, and then new diamond powder is pressed in with a ball bearing cartridge. Once the lap is freshly prepped, the manager checks the polish on a test stone. When cutters get very experienced, they can do this regular maintenance for themselves, resurfacing and prepping the lap as they go through their day. It's quite impressive that such a simple and outdated machine has been repurposed to become a melee super machine, allowing the factory to cut 5,000 to 15,000 stones per month depending on size. When seen through the microscope, the 3mm melee stone, which took less than 5 minutes to cut, has nearly perfect meet points that can hardly be seen by the naked eye. Thanks for watching, and come back next time for more exciting adventures through the world of faceting machines.